Heading into the first of my two starter builds is my Poison Chaos build. So this build is effectively a Essence Drain Poison build. I've always wanted to run Poison build, but I had difficulties creating a Poison build that I really had comfortable with. Due to some of the recent changes with damage, as well as some of the new unique items, I was able to finally create a Chaos damage build that also incorporates Poison to a very, very comfortable point as far as I can tell. So I will be running a Shadow Trickster. This will be using a new Trickster ascendancy that was introduced with this this Bestairy League. So I'm going to try to cover everything from the entirety of the important skill nodes that I covered, as well as the items that I'll be using and the skills that I have incorporated with those items. So this will cover everything encompassed with those. I'm going to be doing the exact same thing for my other build, which is my Special Shield Throw build, and then I'm going to be wrapping up this video. So that's what I want to go through today. So to start out with, we will be heading through. We're starting the tree here with our physical damage and chaos damage and life. And we will be heading up through this first portion of the tree and ignoring the attack speed, because the attack speed has no effect to this build. If it was cast speed, there might be a little bit of use, but because it's attack speed, it's not useful to our build because we don't use attacks. We're using several incorporated spells, so it's more beneficial to our build to just grab the extra physical and chaos damage, especially because we are really based off of poison as well as chaos degen. So poison works off of our total physical damage as well as in combination with our total chaos damage, and that gives us our poison damage over time. So we're going to head through there, and we're going to pick up our coordination, which gives us attack speed and cast speed, as well as dexterity and intelligence. Because this is a CI build, we are not going to be grabbing Blood Siphon or anything like that. Instead, we are going to head down and grab Entropy, which gives us 27% increased damage over time, as well as increased skill effect duration. From there, we will head up to grab Fangs of the Viper, which gives us more global physical damage, as well as more chaos damage, movement speed, and dexterity, all of which is very useful to our build. Now, here's where here we're going to reach our center point of our build, which is Nullification. This gives us evasion rating, and maximum energy shield, maximum life, and all res. Maximum life is pretty much going to be ignored, except for the early leveling process before we actually switch over to CI. After that, this is where the tree kind of splits in half, literally in half. So I'm gonna head down first, and then we'll head up, so you guys can see what I mean by the tree splits itself in half. So heading down, we're going to grab notable nodes like Fanatic for the extra frenzy charge. We're also going to grab Void Barrier for the extra evasion, energy shield, as well as more all res, as well as energy shield recharge. We're also going to grab the notable node Fatal Toxins, as well as the entirety of the Fatal Toxin string. This is important because we need the increased damage from poison. We also want to be able to get the we also want to be sure that we have 100% poison chance on hit. So these two nodes become incredibly important. Then we're going to head down through Survivalist. This picks up more evasion rating as well as all res, and gives us a boost to our maximum cold res, giving us a 76% cold res max instead of our normal 75%. The reason I'm and then we're going to head down and grab Fervor, ignoring the other path that we could have took, which would have given us the bonus to increase evasion rating, because this build is not heavily reliant on evasion, and instead is focused on just using range as well as frenzy charges for damage. So we don't really need the extra evasion. And then we're going to continue down and grab Toxic Strikes, which gives us more poison damage as well as poison duration, and another 10% chance to poison on hit. We're also going to grab the 20% increased damage with that, as well as the other 10% chance to poison on hit, which brings our chance to poison on hit to a total of 40% as far as our skill trees involved. The last thing we're going to do is grab the entirety of the Dirty Techniques ring, which gives us another 50% increased damage to poison, another 20% increased damage with poison, and another 50% increased damage with poison, as well as 20% increased poison duration. We aren't using any tech, so we aren't going to be making use of the bleeding effect from this. However, the poison damage definitely makes up for it and is the region we are scaling down here in the first place. And then lastly, we're going to wrap up by grabbing the last two chance to poison, which gives us 60% poison on hit. Which is incredibly important as far as our build, because we need that 60% to ensure that we reach our 100%. Now, heading back up and our Archie, we're going to grab Cold-Hearted Calculation, which gives us spell damage, mana regeneration, and intelligence. It also gives attack damage, but we won't be making use of that in our build. We're also grab Infused, which gives us an extra maximum power charge, which brings our total up to 4 so far. 4 power charges, as well as our total of 5 frenzy charges at current. We're going to head up and grab Growth and Decay, as well as all the damage over time nodes heading over to it, ignoring the 0.6 life regeneration node on the way. This gives us a large amount of damage over time, as well as extra life regenerated per second, which we'll be using to convert over to energy shield regeneration. We're going to grab the entire Written Blood Trail tree, so we get extra energy shield from this ring, as well as some strength that helps our build in what we need. We're also going to grab Atrophy, which gives us 25% increased chaos damage, as well as increased cast speed with chaos bills, and some chaos res, which really won't have a use because we're going to be running CI anyways, but it's there, so we're going to take it. We're going to take everything involved in that tree, so we grab, and we're going to add an extra bit of global physical damage from this. We're not going to grab Force Shaper, even though it is here and it would be useful. We're choosing not to grab it instead, to grab some other damage options. We're going to then head down to Arcane Vision, be able to grab to be able to change our light radius from being based on our life to our energy shield instead. Because we will be running CI, we only have 1 life, so having Arcane Vision allows us to be able to see by changing our light radius from being based on our life to our energy shield instead, which we will have significantly more of than our life. We then be grabbing the Melding Node, which gives us 10% increased maximum energy shield as well as increased life. The life will be good as far as leveling. The energy shield is really the important key note to this. We will then be grabbing the first of our 2 important jewel sockets, because we're going to be running 2 Spreading Rot Cobalt Jewels, which gives us increased chaos damage as well as the increased 50% hinder and duration from Blight, as well as 25% increased chaos damage by using Blight. These are easy to get. You can get them in Act 5, and then you'll need to buy one other one, or if you have a secondary character that doesn't need any of the jewels from there, you can always just pick up 2 of them, which is probably what I will be doing, since I really have several builds that I run through this league. Then we're going to head over and grab Deep Wisdom, which gives us more intelligence, mana, as well as more energy shield. We'll be heading down and grabbing everything up to the energy shield that gives us 12%. And then we'll head up a little bit and grab Arcane Focus, as well as the 1 extra 8% from here. We're then going to head through Area Effect, ignoring Blast Radius because we don't need area damage. We just need a couple increases to area effects, a 16% increased area effect, and just to branch up to really want to go. This gives us our second Spreading Rot Cobalt Jewel, as well as our 5th instability, our 5th power charge, I should say. It's important that you go this side instead of going this side, because you want to get the increased spell damage, because in total this build will include 7 power charges, which means having 28% increased spell damage. We're then going to head down to the left and grab the entirety of the Corruption Node ring, which gives us in chaos damage as well as damage over time, which is incredibly important. And then we're going to grab Unnatural Calm, which gives us 18% increased maximum energy shield, 15% increased energy shield recharge rate, as well as 1% extra maximum lightning res. So just like our other overcapped cold res, which will be at 76%, our lightning res will also be able to be the same. We're then going to head down, grab Zealous Oath, which turns all of our life regeneration over to energy shield, and then we're going to wrap it up with Overcharge for the 6th of our power charges, as well as Faith and Steel for increased armor, as well as increased maximum energy shield, as well as some extra elemental reses. So that wraps up the entirety of the skill tree and how it branches out. The next thing I'm going to cover is my choices when it comes to my bandits, as well as my choices when it comes to my Pantheon. So as far, or not my Pantheon, my Ascendancy. So for my Bandit, I'm choosing a Lyra because we need the mana regen and as well as the resist. The crit multiplier is a little bit extra, but it's not entirely important. However, the resist and mana regen are staples to the builds that I tend to run. As far as our Ascendancy tree, we will be going Swift Killer, which gives us another +1 to Maximum Frenzy and Power Charges, bringing our totals up to 7 and 6 respectively. We then have our 15% chance to gain a Frenzy Charge and Power Charge on kill, and then 5% increased damage per Frenzy Charge as well as 5% increased damage per Power Charge. So in total, 65% increased damage overall from the both of them combined. We'll then be grabbing Patient Reaper, which gives us another 50% increased damage over time, as well as allowing us to recover 2% maximum life, 2% maximum energy shield on kill, and 4% of maximum mana on kill, which is huge for us because it gives us another source of regeneration for our energy shield. We also going to have 70% increased recovery rate of life, mana, and energy shield if you killed an enemy affected by your damage over time recently. Since our entire build is focused on damage over time, we'll have plenty of damage. We'll always make use of this extra notable skill. We're then going to grab Prolonged Pain, which gives us 20% increased skill effect duration, as well as 10% reduced damage taken from damage over time. We're also going to gain 20% increased poison duration and 15% more damage over time from this skill. So this is very useful, boosting our damage over time, as well as our poison duration, as well as our skill effect duration, which means our poison duration as well as our essence stream will be incredibly longer, or will be significantly longer, allowing them to get more damage out. The last two nodes we're going to do is just grab the 2 attack and cast speed nodes, which gives us another 20% increased damage over time, as well as 8% increased attack and cast speed combined. The reason I did this instead of grinding Harness in the Void, because we are already making use of the physical damage in our build, we do not need to be able to grab 25% non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage. It's not important to our build, since we're already making use of everything. Stats involves are the entirety of our skill tree and everything that's involved with it. I'll be sure to leave the paste bin so you guys will be able to come and see this build and be able to play it yourselves and be able to run through it and see it beyond my explanation. The next thing I'm going to cover is my items. I'm going to be using the uniques I will be incorporating into this build are the Breath of the Council Cardinal Scepter, a Dendrobat Sentinel Jacket, Allopathy Sorcerer Gloves, Astromentus Onyx Amulet, a Baited Breath Chain Belt, Witchfire Brew Stimulant Flask, as well as 2 Spreading Rock Cobalt Jewels that I previously mentioned. Oops. Did not mean to do that. Now, the Breath of the Council, the importance of these unique items start with the Breath of the Council. Breath of the Council gives us 285% increased physical damage, 90% increased chaos damage, 10% increased area effective area skills, and 40% increased chaos skill effect duration. What this does is essentially it buffs our essence drain duration, our poison damage, as well as our chaos damage. So it buffs every single thing we are going to be using. It also adds extra increased elemental damage, which we won't be really making effective in this build, but it's on the item, so I just decided I should mention it as well. We're just going to grab evasion, energy shield. If you want to, you can always run just a flat energy shield. It depends on you and how you feel in terms of your survivability and how much energy shields you want to be able to have. I prefer to have evasion energy shield because I want the extra dodge chance for spells. Heading down, we're going to grab just a basic energy shield helmet, and then we're going to be grabbing Dendrobats. Now Dendrobats requires 300 dexterity and at least 150 intelligence. Now the use of this is that it gives us 88%, it gives us around 100% increased damage with poison if we have 300 dexterity, so that's why we really want to have that extra 300 dexterity, and it gives us the 20% increased poison duration if we have 150 intelligence. It also allows any socketed gem to be supported by lesser poison, giving us a pseudo 7 link. It also gives us elemental resist, as well as energy shield and evasion. So to be able to utilize that, we're going to be using Astromentus Onyx Amulet because we don't really make use of anything else in terms of what we need. This gives us a flat 100 attributes to everything we have, so flat 100 strength, dexterity, and intelligence, allowing us to be capped for everything required for Dendrobats. We're going to be grabbing Allopathies, so that we have a level 22 Blight skill, as well as 25% increased damage over time, as well as an extra 10% increased area effect skills. We also do not want to be hindered, so this is useful for that. Now, Blight, the skill Blight is specific to this unique item in that anything socketed into this as a support gem will work as a support on top of your level 22 Blight. The last unique we're incorporating is the Bated Breath, which gives us just a flat 10% increase to damage, some extra intelligence, as well as 50% increased energy shield recharge rate, which gives us some nice extra survivability. Heading into our skills, which is the last thing we'll cover, we have Blight, once again, supported by Void Manipulation, Faster Casting, Swift Affliction, as well as increased area effect, which gives us a larger area to be able to stand and channel it. Void Manipulation gives us increased damage over time, as well as added chaos damage. Faster Casting allows us to reach our maximum stacks as quickly as possible, and Swift Affliction ensures that the damage hits very, very hard. The next item we will be using, or the next ability we'll be using, is Essence Drain, which will be our pseudo 7 socket, or 7 link, which will be Essence Drain, Lesser Poison, Efficacy, Void Manipulation, Swift Affliction, Controlled Destruction, and lastly Decay. So, the reason that we're going to be doing this is Essence Drain will do a chaos damage over time, Lesser Poison will allow us to poison over time, and Decay also gives us more poison over time. So we have 3 separate sources of dot damage from this one ability. Efficacy boosts the damage over time, Void Manipulation boosts the chaos damage as well as damage over time, and Swift Affliction makes sure that it hits very, very hard. Controlled Destruction also ensures this. Continuing on, we'll have Contagion with our Curse on Hit setup. So we'll have Contagion, Curse on Hit, Despair, and increased area effect. So we have a larger Contagion area, as well as being able to curse in a larger area. So that's the entire use of that. We are not relying on Contagion for its own damage. We are instead using it to spread our Essence Drain damage as normal. We're using Flame Dash for just mobility, which gives us Flame Dash, Faster Casting, and Arcane Surge, which allows us to have extra mana regen as well as some extra spell damage on this side. For defensive auras, we'll be running Purity of Elements as well as Discipline for increased energy shield as well as extra elemental res. We will be using a Spell Totem with Wither and Faster Casting, which gives us even more single target damage. As Spell Totem and Wither, we want to be able to reach maximum stacks as fast as possible, so that's the use of that. And then the last thing we'll be using is Immortal Call, which is cast damage taken, so it gives us extra physical damage reduction, so when we get hit by things, we should be fine.